Huey Lewis in the news. One of my all-time favorite movies, not named Star Wars. I love Back to the Future. Absolutely love it. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. In fact, it kind of goes with the theme, what we're talking about here today on the DisneyVerse Podcast. Extinct Disney attractions. We talked about some of the things you can do on our previous episode about vacations, what you can do. Well, we're going to talk about things that used to be there, but not anymore. My name is Michael. Thank you very much for joining us here today. We are joined by our cast of characters. We'll get to them in just a moment. Let me just turn that down. I can listen to that all day long. That's pretty awesome. We have Vicky, Trish, and Terry joining us. Ladies, hello. How are you? And what's new?
Hi.
Hi. Fabulous. So we have a pretty big episode today. We look ahead to some of the things that have been added to the parks. We talk about some of the things that we're looking forward to. Galaxy's Edge, which we do have some Disney park news. Maybe not necessarily the best news for some. Some may be looking forward to this news. We'll talk about the blackout restrictions that happen at Disney parks, or Disneyland, I should say, in just a couple of moments. Also, Solo, the movie. Some people think it's a flop. Some people don't. I don't think it's necessarily a flop if you make over $200 million. But there are people saying in the movie industry that it's now officially a flop, so we'll talk about that. And
God, I wish I could flop like that.
I'm telling you. Seriously. Yeah. You only made $175 million in 10 days. Yeah, you're out of the movie business.
Pennies.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll never work in this town again, Ron Howard. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. And Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet and also has broken some illusions. I guess there was some, maybe one day they were going to have all the Disney princesses in one scene. Well, it was teased at D23, and now it has been made officially to all the people out there. The trailer for Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, Chapter 2, was dropped today. We'll talk about that in just a couple of moments. Of course, quick reminder. First of all, thank you very much for listening to the show. Thank you for liking our Facebook page, our Twitter page as well. Also want to say a big congratulations to our Facebook contest winner, Summer Gutner. Summer, thank you very much for sharing and liking the DisneyVerse Podcast Facebook page. You have won the edition of Black Panther. Black Panther just came out not too long ago on Blu-ray, DVD, regular DVD as well, and also digital copy. You're going to get a copy of that. And also, Miss Terry is going to custom make your very own Black Panther Mickey Mouse ears. Terry, what is the business you run again?
I have an Etsy shop called Littlest Bow Shop that does all kinds of Mickey ears, baseball caps, headbands. I've even done some clips. But yeah, I got to make some Black Panther ears now.
Damn right. Well, and also we have, not just Disney ears. I've seen you make some Doctor Who ears. You've done.
Oh yeah, all kinds of nerdy ears. One of the popular ones that is really weird is Minions.
I can see it. I can
Minions,
absolutely see
Harry
it.
Potter, Doctor Who, all of those.
Yes. Well, and definitely it's one of those type of things that you do very, very well against your Etsy shop. What was the address again?
Littlest Bow Shop on Etsy.
Littlest Bow Shop on Etsy. So definitely go ahead and check it out. She has a lot of her different Disney ears on there as well. So again, Summer, congratulations. Hit us up on Facebook. Send us a message and let us know what your information is, and we'll get it out for you here pretty soon. So we'll get all that news for you. So ladies, we want to start today's show. We're going to get into the Disney attractions that are extinct, roaming with the dinosaurs of Jurassic World, I guess. But we're talking a little bit first about the Solo movie. Now, Han Solo had a movie. I don't know if you guys know this or not. There was a movie with Han Solo.
Really?
I don't know if you guys know about this.
I've already seen it twice.
I have seen it. I've seen it once. You've seen it twice. Trish, I know you guys have seen it, right?
Not once. Yeah.
Once.
I want to see it again though because the theater I saw it in was kind of crappy, and they needed to replace the bulb in their projector. So it was like really dark. I even leaned over to my husband and said, "Did we fall into the DC universe? It's so dark."
No, it's actually Justice League. It was so bad it was Justice League. Terry, have you seen it yet?
I did. I embarrassed my wife by wearing a Chewbacca shirt and Chewbacca ears to the theater.
Okay, so
shame.
We've all seen it, and it's kind of what we thought. I mean, at least what I thought it was going to be. I mean, ladies, did you guys like the movie? Did you guys not like it? What was your feelings on Solo?
I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
I did like it. The only thing I had a little bit of trouble with, and this is totally not his fault at all, I could see all the other characters as themselves, like Donald Glover. I could see him as Lando immediately.
Yes.
It was really hard to see, I don't know his name, as Harrison Ford or to be Han Solo. It was like
for the hard version, and we're so used to the Harrison Ford version. It's a little disconnect.
It was a good movie, but it was like really hard. It almost felt like another person in the universe, not Han Solo.
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
he could be any character. He just happens to be Han Solo.
Yeah.
At least they say he's Han Solo. I also have a hard time accepting him as Han Solo because I don't really care for his acting style, and so I don't know. That's why I also want to see it again because I personally didn't like it that much, not as much as I wanted to, but I'm trying to blame it on the bad projector, so maybe give it another chance. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, it could be a bad projector, but apparently a lot of people have stayed away from this movie. As of the second weekend, we're recording this on Monday, second weekend, box office results have come in. It made only $29.3 million, a massive drop of 65.3%. So far, it has made only $115 million internationally, and really just not much more domestically here. Apparently, the budget for this movie was over $250 million. So, as of right now, unless something dramatic happens, which in movies it usually doesn't, I mean, it's really, you can almost say that this movie is a financial flop. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a flop as far as just a horrible movie. I don't think another Marvel movie came out during that time.
It didn't make the money they were expecting, and that's always the hard thing. If you ever deal with the stock market, you understand how there's always the expectation and the reality.
Right.
And depending on where you fall, above or below that expectation, you could still make a profit. You could still be a good movie.
Right.
But you weren't what was expected, thus you're not as good as anyone was hoping. And that's always hard on these films that all of us insane nerds love and can't wait to see the next one. But we have a lot of pressure on the studio and the filmmakers and the actors to give us what we're picturing in our heads and what we're dreaming. And sometimes I think I'm unrealistic, but, I still have my opinions.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
Well, and I think that they should have waited. I mean, Last Jedi just came out 6 months ago, and then we have another Star Wars movie. There wasn't enough time to hype this movie, and then also they started late. Like, we didn't see a trailer until Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was just, to me, it felt like
the myth that it was coming out.
Yeah.
It was.
Do you think
you just can't do multiple movies a year?
No,
like this.
No, you can't. And well, I mean, Disney can get away with it because Marvel. But however, Marvel, there's so many different main characters in the plot and in the story that you can get away with it. But really, in Star Wars, you really just have a very small handful of main characters that you can really build a movie franchise around. I know that there was discussion a while back about making a Leia Luke like a series where they're talking about showing them growing up and doing their little different realms or something like that. Maybe some Easter eggs. That hasn't obviously happened, but But do you think? And Trish, I'll start with you on this one. Do you think it has to do maybe with the directors? I know there was some transition between a set of directors and then Ron Howard, which I think Ron did a good job, but it's really it's Star Wars sagas and franchises. It's just really, really hard to.
It's hard that's why he turned it down the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Trish? I'm sorry.
It's hard to pick up where someone left off too.
Oh, yes.
Right.
These I don't even know how much of the movie they got done with the original directors, the guys that did the Lego movie, and so it's kind of hard to know. I know they had to bring acting coaches in for the guy that plays Han Solo
Yeah.
in the middle of production, which that's not a good sign.
Right.
And
No.
Well, apparently the directors Phil Lord and Chris Miller, what they were discussing this, and apparently they said they had to reshoot many of the scenes, which unfortunately ballooned the film's budget significantly.
Yes.
So obviously, if you have to reshoot everything, the actors, they might be disappointed that they have to do this part all over again, and it makes it hard for that passion. I think there was a little bit of that passion and excitement through the characters on the screen, but it just didn't really grab you. Like, obviously, the ending kind of makes you think, well, okay, this is going to set it up for a sequel. However, I'll explain that may not happen in a second. But
Yeah.
do you think ultimately this is Ron Howard's fault, or do you think this is just Kathleen Kennedy just doing her thing?
I think it's Disney beating a dead horse, and
Yeah.
they're not giving it a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
They're not giving. They are trying to make as much money as they can off of Star Wars, of what they bought, and frankly, they're going overboard, and they're going to make it so people start hating it.
Well, it's funny you say that because Vanity Fair, in fact, I was doing some research, just kind of seeing some of the articles about it. We're actually talking about the future of the Star Wars franchise, and an executive who, of course, didn't want to speak his name out, his or her, of course, they don't want to put their name out there, reports that they may decide to not pursue any further Star Wars story movies going forward, which means we will not get a sequel to Solo. We will not get a rumored Boba Fett movie. That they will just end it with this movie and just focus on the sequels.
Yeah, but the Boba Fett has been a push since Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
I enjoyed Solo, but that's not the movie the fans wanted. And this is now a fan-driven franchise. And if Disney wants to milk it for all it's worth, then they have to figure out how to gauge and satisfy a big majority of the fans and not just keep throwing stuff at us.
Right. Well, and that's something they have to be concerned about, because if Disney's starting to look at what the fans want, that's great. But if they're looking at what's in the best interest for them to make money, which unfortunately, and I know some people are going to kill me by me saying this, if they're going to make every single franchise story based on every single character, like, are you going to have a Lando story now? Are you going to have an R2-D2? I mean, this is when it gets to the point where, okay, you do the story. The Death Star one, Rogue One, I thought was good. I thought it was an appropriate movie to have. I thought it was very informative, because then you can see, okay, what happened. This one was like, okay, this
was too much of a one-off.
It felt like a one-off until the end, which then they said, oh,
right,
is it a one-off? So, yeah.
And then you had to explain to tell your friends who hadn't seen Clone Wars or Rebels why Darth Maul was there.
Right. Well, and that's ultimately what I think is going to hurt in this case, because, not a lot of people have Disney XD. They have Netflix, but they don't have Disney XD. That was really, for a while, the only way you can watch the Clone Wars, Clone Wars was on Cartoon Network. Then they put on Disney Rebels for Disney XD. So, yeah, it's very interesting how they're going to make the move in going forward with these movies. I don't think that they're going to stop production, but I'll tell you what, Disney right now, Disney's released 4 movies this year. 2 have been extremely, extremely successful, and 2, unfortunately, financially wise, have been flops. So we'll see what Disney's got going on. I know they got a movie that is coming out later in the year, which is what we're going to talk about next, and that is Ralph Breaks the Internet. Wreck-It Ralph Chapter 2, Volume 2, Episode 2, whatever you want to call it. It is the sequel to the movie back from a few years ago where Ralph is trying to wreck more things, but this time he's teaming up with Penelope, and they're going into the internet. Apparently, the internet, where everything as we all know is true. We all know that is completely accurate. But the trailer, ladies, came out today, and you know what? I think this could very well be a movie that, for being a sequel, this is going to be a sleeper. I think this is going to be, not in a bad way, like people are not really talking about it, but I think when the movie comes out, you're going to see this movie all over the place.
Yes.
I think it's going to be kind of in the same vein of Ready Player One. There's going to be so many Easter eggs to look for.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What about you, Terry?
I think Wreck-It Ralph, the first one, was kind of underrated, so I'm actually a little bit surprised that they were willing to make a sequel. I'm excited about it. I've been excited about it since it was announced, but I think Wreck-It Ralph itself wasn't as popular as I thought it was going to be. Like, people glaze over Wreck-It Ralph really easily.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not well represented in merchandise or in the parks or anything like that. So we'll see if maybe Wreck-It Ralph 2 changes that as well.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did notice in watching the trailer, it first started out as like I'm watching the Emoji Movie Volume 2. If you guys have ever seen the Emoji Movie,
Oh, no.
it is a god-awful movie. Okay, I would not recommend anyone seeing that unless you want to burn 90 minutes of your life watching a movie about emojis. Because they had like all the Google, they had Snapchat and Twitter and all that stuff. But then quickly, Disney was like, they probably saw that they were going off course. So like, okay, we're going to bring you back in. So they brought you back in. You see them talking to like a Google translator or something like that. Then they see all the Disney stuff. So Disney is looks like they might be poking a little bit of fun at themselves, because in the trailer you do notice all the Disney princesses in one room, where they're talking about, were you abducted by your parents, or something like, all the little different things that happen in the Disney franchise. But clearly this movie looks really, really funny. I laughed pretty hard about it. I know some of my coworkers were looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, "Shut up and do your work." But I mean, this movie looks really, really promising for a lot of reasons, and I think it's got some of the adult humor in it, like I think some Disney movies can pull off without going too racy. And this looks funny. I'm very excited about this movie, and even more now. So there you go.
It would be a very hard decision between watching Wreck-It Ralph 2 or Fantastic Beasts 2.
Well, here's what you do.
You watch one on Thursday and one on Friday.
Thank you, sister. I was just, God damn it, I was gonna say it. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But no.
Ruined.
I know. Or okay. So so Wreck-It Ralph comes out Thanksgiving. I think the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Okay. So when does Fantastic Beasts come out?
I think the same day.
I think the same day.
All right. So here's what we do, ladies. We go ahead and plan our Wednesday evening, as long as we got our Thanksgiving shopping done, okay? Because God forbid we need cranberry sauce and freaking stuffing for all this crap. We
Come to my house. We'll make pierogi.
Okay, perfect. We're on our way. I'll bring the beer. Anyway, so we go see the movie. Okay, we use our movie pass because $9.99 a month. We still get away with it. It's okay. We go see the movie. Everyone's out at Walmart spending $300 trying to fight for yams, and then afterwards we go ahead and make our purchase.
We're fighting for yams.
I like him.
You're doing your Black Friday wrong.
Okay. So Terry's not going. Anyway, so
we start with one, and then what? Do we go to the other one for a late show?
We go for a late show. Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, game on. Hello. I think this is going to be great.
Well, movie pass, you can only do one movie a day.
Shh. No, I'm just kidding. No, that is correct. You can only do one a day. No, I will actually buy a ticket to go see a movie and everything. But yeah, that is correct. You can only see one movie a day on that. I have seen people hack the system, which, for a while they can get away with it, but they will get caught. But that's another topic for another episode. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be cool to do. I mean, you're going to have a good weekend, Fantastic Beast, and you have Disney going head to head. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be a good weekend to go see a movie. A lot of people are going to be hitting the mall. So if you have a theater that is at the mall, then God forbid, go ahead and get your parking spot now, because it's going to be crazy in a few months. But if you're going to a standalone movie without any kind of mall, then, that's the place to go to. Shouldn't be, it'll be crowded, but it won't be like insanely crowded. People will be hitting the mall. So that'll be pretty exciting. One thing you won't be doing if you have an annual pass is going to Disneyland in June. Disneyland announced through the LA Times that they are going to start having more blackout dates. And this kind of gives into the whole realm of maybe when Galaxy's Edge is going to open. Blackout dates pretty much is going to cover throughout the month of June. Now, historically speaking, Disney doesn't do blackout dates this significantly unless they are planning to have a huge opening. Hello, they're building Galaxy's Edge, so we might have our first indication on that. And they have said
during the summer, so
yeah,
it is
Disneyland
in the summer
and Disney World is fall.
Yes. So, needless to say, June looks to be the opening weekend. They are getting a lot of fan backlash. However, I do understand why Disney's doing this. You know, you want to have people who don't spend $1,000 go to the parks, have that first crack of going to see this park, part of the land, and then you have the rest of the people not able to go to because the place is closed because of capacity. But Disney, you know, they're going to alienate a lot of their pass holders too. I mean, I get both sides of it, but I mean, Terry, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a great idea? Disney's doing this?
Well, I thought that they were going to have to somehow limit. We all know Disneyland has an annual pass holder problem, should we say, because they have so many locals with so many different passes that it gets super busy because of pass holders. So if you have something like Galaxy's Edge opening, we know it's going to be an absolute madhouse, and they were going to have to do something to quell the crowds for a little bit. I know pass holders are pissed, but I'm kind of like, good. They needed to do something.
Yeah, well, they have recently gone away with the Southern California annual pass, which is one that they really, really had, and it was actually the least expensive. The only condition is that you had to be a resident within a certain zip code.
And you have payment plans still and all, which that's the next thing that needs to go. They need to get rid of payment plans.
Payment plan has been discussed. There is also discussion about just having one pass instead of like these tier passes. One of the things about that, though, is that they would lump it into the pass that you get the most for. Which is like $1,100, but that's one thing Disneyland is looking at doing to reduce the amount of pass holders going into the park. And Disneyland will say, you know what, we do appreciate our pass holders. We do like what they do. They support us.
And they do a lot of special things for us.
They do. And they do a lot of perks. They do a lot of perks.
Yes.
But the problem is, though, is that it really puts someone who, let's say you go to Disneyland, you know, for a week trip, and you find out that, oh, the park is closed because there's a pass holder party or something like that. So
people who don't pay as much attention to the parks as we do.
Right. Well, yeah, that's why if you listen to our show, I guarantee we'll give you all the latest passport news. So just
yes.
So
you know, I understand why they're doing it. I'm right there with you, and I have an annual pass, and I got to tell you, June, there will be some days. There'll be fewer dates. And I expect that to look the same for July and August.
Yeah, well, they haven't released the July or August calendar yet.
No.
They usually don't do that until, like a year from this month or something like that. So July's will come out July 1st, and August will come out August 1st, and so on.
There is no doubt they're going to have crazy crowds. When I was there in January, I had some very lively conversations with cast members as they were all mentally preparing a year in advance for the opening of Star Wars, because they're expecting it to be a lot crazier than when Cars Land opened.
Just imagine next year in August when Galaxy's Edge is going to open, because you're not just going to have Galaxy's Edge, you're also going to have D23. Yep. So
I know.
I'm just going to say right now, even that weekend, there will be blackouts. I'm just calling it right now. There will be a blackout for pass holders, and they may just do a blackout for everybody. You just show up, pay your $2.99 admission to get in, or whatever the fees are going to be that time. But you literally you're going to have to shell out a day pass just to get into the park and experience Disneyland, like everybody else.
So it may just be we go, and I go with you guys to go do D23, and I hang out at Downtown Disney.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But we are going to do a meet and greet. I was thinking about that. We have a meet and greet that I want to do outside the park, so you don't have to pay to get in. But also when me and Trish go to Disneyland in February. So we'll have more details on that later on in the year. But we're thinking about doing a meet and greet for people to meet us and say hello. So anyway, so that's kind of the latest news I wanted to kind of share. Of course, if there's any kind of news that you do hear about, see about, whatever, hit us up. We do have our social media links. We have our email locked up. Let's go ahead and start you off with the email. DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. Again, DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions about the show, if you want to talk to us, if you want to send us any coupons for 2-for-1 at Olive Garden, that's fantastic. Also, if you want to hit us up on Twitter at DisneyVerse Pod, Vicky has everything going on that one as well. And Facebook.com/DisneyVerse. We put so much stuff on that page as well, too. So we pretty much have everything covered. We're going to do Instagram here soon. I don't know what else we can do, but we'll do something like that here soon. So anyway, so the big focus about our episode today, ladies, we're talking about Disneyland in the past. Back to the Future. We brought that up at the very beginning of the episode. Obviously, we can spend 17 and a half hours on this. We're only going to spend maybe 11 hours, which will go. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning as we're doing this. So, but obviously there's going to be some kind of big attractions or big, not so attractions, but there might be some things maybe in the park that was there, but not anymore. So I want to start kind of with, Trish, I know you have a list going on. So why don't you give me the one that you missed the most as you're shuffling your papers? I knew it. She wrote a 3-page book report on this. Okay.
Oh.
The one I missed the most is, oh gosh, that's hard. The one I missed the most, I would have to say, would be the Country Bear Jamboree.
Country Bear Jamboree. Wow,
one of those that still exists, but not in Disneyland.
Well, I was so happy to see it in Disney World. It made me so happy.
Well, and that's one thing I'm very looking forward to when we make our way out there. It's interesting. If you go through the Winnie the Pooh attraction, there is one little element from the old Country Bear Jamboree that is still there. Have you guys ever seen that?
Yep. Yes, I have.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's a little thing up there. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, you just YouTube hidden Country Bear Jamboree and the Winnie the Pooh ride. But that was one of those attractions. As you're an adult, you go in there because you want to cool off, you want to kind of relax a little bit. But it was also really entertaining, and that was one of those things where it made the animatronics at the time very interactive.
Yes. It was so much fun.
Oh, and
it was one of my dad's favorites. And when I went to the one in Disney World, I went with my mother, and we were watching it, and I noticed my mom is singing with all the songs, and she hadn't seen the original Country Bear Jamboree since like 1986.
Yep.
And I'm just like, Mom, how do you know all the words? And she's like, well, this shows you how many times I've seen this.
Well, it was called the Country Bear Jamboree, but in addition to the 17 bears, there was also a raccoon, a bison, a moose, and a stag deer. They all hoped you enjoy the show. So they would have all these different songs played, the 5 Bear Rugs, Blood on the Saddle, which was interesting. The Ballad of Davy Crockett, which kind of goes with the theme of Disney and everything. So in 1972, Country Bear Jamboree opened at the centerpiece of the park's new land, Bear Country. It stuck around for many of years as I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. But eventually it did meet the demise of certain different attractions. I don't know did Splash Mountain take it out, or was it just...
No, it was there.
Oh, no, I see it right here.
Yeah.
It performed the Country Bear Vacation Hoedown at Disneyland until September 9th, 2001. The Country Bear Playhouse went dark forever.
It went dark the day before my birthday? Oh, that's crap.
Oh!
That's crap.
Okay, settle down. Okay, no, just kidding.
But that's just
gotta
cold.
be somebody's birthday.
I know. Here's what's gonna happen. It's like, hey, you got one more day to your birthday. I know, but this day 17 years ago, Country Bear Jamboree closed down.
Sweet.
Oh my God, your birthday.
I could say something, but I don't want to bring the mood down.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, okay, Country Bears ends the day before my birthday, and then 9/11 happened the day after my birthday.
Okay, maybe not. Anyway, moving on. Moving on.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's bring it back up.
All right. Oh, Jesus.
Trish is a curse is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I must be.
All right, well, anyway.
Maybe I'm a Disney princess if I'm cursed.
You might be a Disney princess. I do like that scene, though, in the trailer.
We're going to have to do an episode like that.
Oh God! Well, we are due for another Disney After Dark, so hide your profanity, hide your wives. All right, moving on. So we're talking. All right, so Terry, what is the one attraction that you miss that is no longer at Disneyland?
That's really hard for me too. There's a whole list of stuff that I kind of miss, but one that always comes up, I think it's really high on everybody's list. Okay, two forms of transportation: the People Mover,
Yes.
and the Skyway. Those were both.
Yes.
I have memories of both of those as a child, and I think they were gone by the time I was a teenager.
Yeah, People Mover and Skyway to Tomorrowland, or Skyway to Fantasyland, but it was basically called the Skyway attractions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to pay a ticket for each way.
Yes, which was okay. Well, I would have. I mean, if they would have done it now, I would still pay it. But
You can you can still see the behind Fantasyland and Disneyland,
Yes.
the house that they used to go to, and that's where you'd load and unload for behind Fantasyland.
That's not there anymore.
it's not. Yeah, they
Oh, they just took it down.
They
I
took-
could see it a couple
January
years
it was
ago.
gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
they just took it
Look,
down
it's
for.
still there. Rude.
I know. Well, they took it out to make way for the Star Wars Galaxy Edge.
That makes sense.
So they
And then they
making-
added a queue for Dumbo.
Yes, which, by the way, I've heard there's a lot of great things with that. So, yeah, the People Mover and the Skyway. Now, the People Mover, I love that ride. I mean, that has to be one of my top missing.
I'm sad that Disney World has it and we don't. We still have all the tracks for it. We
Okay.
just don't have it anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it. So, a long
I went
story
to-
short, story short, this was one of those attractions that people love, but there was also some issues with the structure. Primarily the little tracks when you're walking just into Tomorrowland, where you see Star Tours and you see all those little parts, those little tracks up there. There was a lot of issues with the safety of that. So when they took it down and put in the rocket rods, which was dumb. I hate that.
Yeah,
stupid-ass
that was
ride.
a sad attempt to vamp it up.
Right. Yeah, instead
Because
of
they couldn't
taking...
increase the speed.
Well, yeah. So basically, one of the great things about this ride is that it can hold up to 4,885 people within an hour. So like every hour, it's
Wow!
4,885 is what they said. So this was one of those attractions. I mean, it had one of the big sponsors. Goodyear sponsored it for many years. It had the link to Tron. If you guys remember that, you can go through the world of Tron.
That used to scare me as a kid, actually, that Tron part. It was so loud. It was so loud in there that, I used to hide in the bottom of the People Mover until we got through it.
I think, well, it might be, was it the noise or was it just the dark?
It was the noise.
Oh, okay. Well, I loved it. I was probably screaming. I was on that ride. But unfortunately, because of the structure with that, it did... they originally closed it on August 21st, 1995, which is also close to Trisha's birthday, but that's okay. In March 1996, Disneyland announced that the slow People Mover would be replaced by a new, faster attraction called Rocket Rods as part of a complete renovation of Tomorrowland, which is all that whole steampunk look for it, which I thought was, the colors weren't... I mean, I like the steampunk anyway, but it was one of those attractions that just did not appeal to me all that much. But bottom line is the attraction really just did not take off when it was Rockin' Rods, and then it closed down just less than
Broke like every day.
right, exactly.
Yes.
Broke every single day, and it just wasn't working that well. So People Mover is unfortunately no longer there at Disneyland. However, it is open in Disney World, and I'm telling you right
it's
now,
like never has a line. It's never like super busy in Disney World.
When I was there in November, we actually had to wait half an hour.
Really?
Wow.
Every time I'm there, it's basically walk on. People are like, the People Mover,
The
whatever.
line was all the way out past where they even had chains. They actually had to have someone standing there with a sign saying People Mover line.
yeah. But
I mean, it moves pretty fast, but it still took us half an hour to get there.
right.
Yeah.
Now that is the one attraction that when I walk into Magic Kingdom down in Florida this December, I am absolutely running to that attraction. I am not joking you. I am running to that attraction. That is like the first thing. I realize it's not Disneyland. I'm fully aware of that. but it is one of those attractions that I just absolutely cannot wait to ride. So now we're on to Skyway. Now this is the other one that Terry was talking about. Skyway to Fantasyland, Skyway to Tomorrowland. Either way, it was a D ticket attraction, so you had to pay 35 cents, as I'm looking at a flyer for it right here.
Hey, that was a lot of money back then.
I know. So
especially when you were 5.
Yeah, so here's an interesting statistic. Let's see. The machinery that pulls the gondolas through the sky is over in more picturesque Fantasyland station, but the Tomorrowland station has its own claim to fame. It can it's where 35,000 pounds of weight pull on the cables to keep the properly taut. So basically, it was the machine behind the whole operation. Was the one in Tomorrowland. This was one of the first attractions that Walt did want to put into the park. Not the first, obviously there's a lot more, but he wanted something to where the guests can look over the park and look at some of the construction that was going on for the future of Disneyland. And this was open for a long, long time. I can actually tell you one of my last rides on it was back in 95. Is when I went on that ride for the very last time. And it was 94, I'm sorry, not 95, but 94. But I love that attraction. It's one of those great, great things. And it was around for a long time. This was a fun ride.
I think they were having issues with people, throwing things out of the buckets onto people below.
And sitting.
And there were a few injuries, too, where people were not following the rules about keeping your arms and legs and bodies in at all times.
Because, there's still attractions like that. Like, the San Diego Zoo has one, for instance.
Yes.
But I can see how it didn't last at Disneyland, even though it was... And it went straight through the Matterhorn. That was awesome.
That was so cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, closed down, and it's one of those attractions. I miss it, but it was one of the more fun ones. You can just kind of look out and hopefully you don't jump out or anything. So, oh, there he goes.
Bobby, the Mouseketeer, Bobby.
Yes.
The original Mouseketeers. He actually told a story. He proposed to his wife on the Skyway when they were going through the Matterhorn. Well, he said he figured she couldn't escape that way.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. I was just thinking that. He's probably like, dude, I got her now. She's got me for 10 minutes. So, okay, so we have that. So we've talked about Country Bear Jamboree, and we've talked about Skyway, and we've also talked about People Mover. So, Vicky, what is the one attraction that you miss the most?
My favorite was Inner Space.
Adventures to Inner Space.
Yes.
Through Inner
I
Space.
was massively into science, and I wanted to be an astronaut, even though I was very short. And for me, it was like all of my favorite stuff all put together, and it was great, and it was fun. And my brother and I probably broke something here or there.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm just saying.
But no, my brother and I love to do that. And I hear a lot of people, they didn't like it, or it was spooky, or it was creepy, but it was the science version of the Haunted Mansion.
That is correct. And I'm looking at right here. Now, I vaguely remember this, but I do know that this was open and I was probably in it at the time. Adventures Through Inner Space, if anyone doesn't know what it is, it literally pretty much... You're like shrunk in, and you have people that are like watching you and everything like that. It's obviously projection and everything, but this is one of those attractions that it's more of not like a ride through, but it's just more of like an experience. You're just experiencing what's around you. You're experiencing kind of like the show that's about to take place and everything. So yeah, it's just like a Haunted Mansion, except you don't actually go through the actual ride itself. But it's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool.
I used to throw a fit every time my parents would start walking towards it. It scared the crap out of me because you know why? This is how stupid I was as a kid. I really thought they were shrinking me down because they had big microscope, in that little window towards the top where you could see the little shrunk people in the little cars going through it. I didn't realize that was fake. And I thought they were really shrinking you, and I was always worried that they were never going to be able to put you back. And I didn't want to be, microscopic forever.
I'm so going to have fun with you at Disneyland. I swear. I'm going to be like, hey,
so
do you want to get shrunk?
I went on the ride a lot, actually, but I actually don't remember it because I spent the whole ride with my head buried in one of my parents' arms or chest or something. Yeah. So I literally have no memory of the ride except for the big eye staring down at you through the microscope.
I'm pretty sure that was one that was already gone, either when I was a baby or before I was born, so yes. I don't even think I ever rode it.
Well, because it left Disneyland in the mid-'80s.
Yeah, in fact, I have it right here. It was opened in 1967 as part of the new Tomorrowland project. It occupied the space that previously housed the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea walkthrough and the Monsanto Hall of Chemistry, insert political opinion here. It closed in 1986. Now, it closed in 1986, now without blurting out, I'll take Terry's guess first, and then Vicky and Trish, you guys can fight over the answer. What is there now?
Star Tours?
Oh, that's easy. Star Tours.
Yay! Very good. Yeah.
I'm not stupid. I know where it was.
No, I know. I'm just seeing.
And then the original.
You were just testing us.
I was testing her. Plus, I'm also getting ready for the next round of Disney trivia. So
in the original Star Tours ride, when Rex, goes the wrong way, right. And there's a part where you actually see the microscope.
Really?
It's there in the video in the corner. Yep.
Huh. That is pretty darn cool.
Little homage to the original ride, yeah.
But yes, I love it. In 1987, so I never rode that.
Yeah.
I know it existed, I just never went on it.
So it's not possible for you to.
No.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. So you took Terry, you did take my two rides, I guess. People Mover and Skyway Fantasy. However, I will tell you the one that is still kind of around, but it's technically, I guess you can say officially not there anymore. The Main Street Let's Go Parade. The Main Street Let's Go Parade, when I grew up, which, I mean, me and Trish are kind of in the same age range. When I heard that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I heard that, oh my God, I wanted to literally plug my ears out and drown them. I did not want to hear any of that.
It used to creep me out a little bit as a kid.
Oh my God.
As you get older, it grows on you. I guess.
And then when I found out it went away, that's when I'm like, oh my God, for real? I was actually sad about it. But it was cool because they used the element of, okay, we have a parade during the day. Everyone can see the parades. Everyone can enjoy that and everything. But Disney really utilized night, and for what they had as far as the limited resources, they maximized them. So they used light, and that was the emphasis of the Main Street Let's Go Parade. And
I was so mad when they moved it to Florida, and then it got wrecked by the humidity over there.
Yes.
Like they had always planned to bring it back to Disneyland and actually put it back on Main Street, but it got so destroyed in Florida that they can't do that, and that's why we got the other one. What's it called?
Paint the
Night. Well, I think it did. Yeah. It did come back. What was it? Last year before, something like that. They brought it back to Disneyland for a couple of months, and now it's
it was a completely different setup.
Yeah, but see, the Electrical Parade and Paint the Night. See, I like both of them for the simple fact that Paint the Night was kind of like an homage to Electrical Parade, but they also did the next level of
technology and such has gotten a lot more.
So much brighter.
Oh, absolutely. Love it.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw the Main Street Electrical Parade was in Disney World for my high school graduation. It was 2006.
Okay, this part freaks me out. This part kind of freaks me out still. But I'm getting over it.
I love this part.
See? Nighttime magic and imagination. And thousands of sparkling lights. And the letters and musical sounds.
I like how it's musical sounds. It's not music, it's musical sounds.
Musical sounds. Which means it's a broad brush on everybody. But see, I like Paint the Night. Because if you go Paint the Night, they're starting out, it's a parade, it's everything. But then they jump into how their predecessor used to be, which is Let's Go Parade. So I think it's awesome. I love it.
Well, Paint the Night is one of the very few ways that they have incorporated Wreck-It Ralph. Yes. They use the song from the credits as the song for that parade.
Which I love that song. by the way.
Oh yeah.
See, I love that song. All right,
It's
here.
one of the very few ways it's incorporated in the parks.
See this part right here? When I was at Disneyland, when I heard the whole thing, I literally got chills. Because, I mean, obviously, through a computer, you can't really... It doesn't give you justice on how much it gave you the chills. See?
Yeah.
See, I like that. See? So they do that.
Okay, I will totally admit that when I saw it the first time, I cried at that part.
See, that's what I mean.
It was so cool when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean...
It was very emotional.
Well, because it's, you back then, you see the Main Street Let's Go parade, it's that whole reminds you of how it was when you were a kid. And
yes.
And how it used to be, how it made you feel. And then they brought it in this corporate, and then, of course, they have this on, too, so.
Yeah, that's the Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. Which I think is a great incorporation.
Yes.
Disney was like, when can I see you again? When can you spend another $125 plus $80? when can you give us money again? Whoa. Anyway, so anyway, that's mine. Main Street Let's Go Parade. Also, the rockets, the old rocket jet rides.
Rocket rods?
Well, I hate
that
that ride. The rocket rod. But also the one thing I really, 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 really missed, and I really, really, really wish they would bring it back, is Starcade.
Oh, that's one of my top two.
Yeah.
Yes.
Starcade. Anyway, I've gone through like 5 or 6.
I love that. But of course, when I was younger, I did the arcades and I did the 25 cents because it was pre-token days. We didn't do tokens back then.
That's right. That's right.
But I loved it, and it was just a great way to kind of detox from the insanity of the day, and especially since I usually got saddled with the younger brothers and sisters, I could just hook them to a machine and then go play my favorites.
Pretty much. Absolutely. And you're like, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that pretty much was it.
Yeah.
I totally remember going into the Starcade, and they had a lot of video games that we had back home, but they were only quarter, and at home they were 50 cents.
Right.
And so it was like, oh, I get to play this for a quarter. Yes.
But see, I used to go in there. My parents used to be like, okay, here's $10. Back in the 80s, that used to get you what,
Oh my gosh, hours.
Hours of games. Now at $10 will get you what, 2 plays on, some basketball game or skee ball. But But yeah, I mean, I thought that was a cool thing because it was inside, it was an arcade and stuff. You got a chance to go out there and everything, so it's pretty cool. Guys, give me some your other attractions that you guys wish they would bring back.
Can we talk about rides that were terrible and were not sad are gone?
You know what? We can do that too.
I wonder which one that is.
So Terry has some aggression she needs to get out. So go ahead and tell us. Could
My
it be
number one top that I'm like, I am so glad it only lasted for a year, and if you never wrote it,
I think I know what it is. Go ahead and say it.
Hollywood Superstar Limo. That was the worst. Oh, dear
was
Lord,
so
that was
funny.
so awful.
I never got to ride that.
Well, you ain't missing anything.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube it if you really feel like
don't even YouTube it.
cringing hard. It was so bad, and I was so happy when they redid it as Monsters Inc. Because
yes, much better use.
Oh dear.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Good for like an hour, and that we're like, oh, a new ride, and there was a huge line. It must be really popular, and every single person in my family got off that ride and went, "What was that?"
It was the most un-Disney ride ever.
Oh my god!
What's the concept of the ride?
You're in a limo on the way to an awards show or something, and like cardboard cutouts of celebrities are like popping out at you, and there's like how the car talks to you, and there's like the little TV screens. It was giving commentary about going through the Hollywood Hills and
Superstar Limo. I'm looking at it right now.
It was wildly inappropriate, which is kind of why it was funny, but it was so not
bad.
right for Disneyland.
That was when they were still trying to be California Adventure.
Yes.
So it was all supposed to be like, you are a celebrity and here's all these other celebrities. And
yeah, that would make most celebrities go, oh, God, no.
Found it.
You know what? I'm intrigued. I might have to YouTube it.
I'm just gonna send you a link right now. I'm gonna send you the link right now on the chat here. So give me a second. Let me send this over to you, and you're gonna wonder what the hell happened to my 3 minutes and 49 seconds of my life. So there you go.
So some other ones that have left that people don't seem to be very sad about. Number one is Stitch's Great Escape in Disney World. That was not a well-liked ride at all.
I hate that.
I actually liked Stitch's Great Escape, but it was really high on people's I hate that ride list. Like, I'm surprised how long it lasted with how much people hate it.
Did you ever do Alien Encounter before?
I did not.
I would have loved to have done that.
My husband did, and he said it was so much better.
I heard it was terrifying, which is why they took it out.
That's why because it's not exactly
small kids.
Friendly.
Yeah, and also Disney World, and I did do this one, and it wasn't great. The Tiki Room got a overlay that was the Tiki Room under new management, and it was Zazu and Iago, and it was not popular. And they reversed that one. There was like a fire.
I did see that.
I swear there was a fire, and they had to shut down the Tiki Room to repair after this fire, and they put it back to normal, and everybody went, yes, thank you. It's so bad.
I believe I actually I'm looking at the transcript of the first song when they brought it back. It says, we are very, 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 we are very sorry. We are very, 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 we are very sorry. We won't make the mistake twice, but we'll come back as nice. Just kidding.
Okay, well, we're not sad with that.
Yeah, you guys keep talking about Disney World because, again, I haven't been there, so you guys are going to run this part. So what are some Disney World attractions?
I'm still going to add one. I'm adding Adventures in Inner Space to the list of rides I'm glad are not there anymore.
Are we back on that again? No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I'm just adding that onto the list right now.
Other ones that were not super popular in Disney World and also are gone now are the Lights, Motors, Action stunt show. I liked it. Others did not. Sounds Dangerous, featuring Drew Carey. Also, it was literally a theater show, but the first 30 seconds to a minute there was movie, and then it went to black, which is why it sounds dangerous. And then everything else was just in your headphones. So you were just listening to this scenario. People weren't super enthusiastic about that one. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and American Idol experiences were both there for a while, but I don't think they were ever super popular or super hated. They're just kind of there.
One of the things in Disney World that surprised me when I found this out was that Mr. Toad's Wild Ride was a flop.
Yeah, it changed to Pooh Bear.
Yeah, they took it out to put the Winnie the Pooh ride in.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I hadn't been to Disney World. All I had was the experience of the Winnie the Pooh ride in Disneyland, which I was still pissed off it replaced the Country Bears. And so I'm just like, how the hell could they replace Mr. Toad with stupid Winnie the Pooh? I was just still really bitter. But I will admit the Winnie the Pooh ride, I like it better in Disney World than Disneyland.
Yeah, their queue is more interactive, but I also hear that, like, a lot of that stuff, it's touched/licked by a million children. So, Yeah. Yeah. Also, the Backlot tour before it closed, it wasn't very popular anymore either. They had but I will say Disney World's Backlot tour was a lot better than Paris's. We went on Disneyland Paris's Backlot tour, and I was like, wow, why did I wait in line for that? That was sad.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, it's also interesting. I was looking at some of the attractions when the park first opened. I remember one of the first, not necessarily attractions, but the first shop that was open back when, in fact, when it was open, the whole place open. It was called the Tobacco Shop.
Yep.
Yeah, the Indian, right?
Yeah.
Yes. One of the Indians is still there. One of the Indian statues.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's still out there.
There was also a bra shop.
Yeah. That was so great. I would have loved to go there.
Oh, could you imagine, like, I got this bra at Disneyland. What?
Are you kidding me? I'd buy a whole range. Come on. I got Mickey Mouse bras. Mickey Mouse ears. I'm sorry. I'm going off.
Those are some. That's a goofy looking bra. Anyway. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
that was
had
bad.
some. I know. Well, they have. I mean, Main Street USA is kind of like a park in itself. I think in a lot of ways because once you go through Main Street, it's like a little Missouri town, nothing big. And next thing you know, boom, I'm either in Adventureland or Tomorrowland. So I always like going through Main Street. It's kind of cool. If you even want to like just spend like maybe some of your day if you live down there, just if you have one of those passes, just kind of stroll around, just see what they got. It's really, really fun to go down there. So, I know Captain EO is another one that I know people have talked about, although it did come back. Well, it came back a little bit as far as things miss. I liked Michael Jackson during when it first came out because of the whole soundtrack to Bad when that came out. Man in the Mirror, I love that song on there and everything, but that's that's my that and yes, I tried to do the moonwalk when I was walking out the other thing.
It was fun to see Captain EO when it came back, but it was like once was enough.
Yeah.
It was like,
it comes back and you're like, wow, boy, I'm feeling a big 80s vibe here.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, can we have Funny I Shrunk the Audience back, please?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but also it was, Michael Jackson at that time in the 80s, I mean, he's the king of pop. And, I mean, he could do anything he wanted to. If he says, hey, I want to buy out Disneyland.
And he did.
And he did. Wasn't it for Liz Taylor's wedding or something like that? Or did Liz Taylor? I know Liz Taylor had a wedding at Disneyland, and the whole park was closed because of it. But I think Michael Jackson just bought the park. He's like, here's $5 million. I'm going to buy it out for free.
I don't think they let you do that anymore. I think you can only do sections.
If we call the DisneyVerse podcast, call Disney, hey guys, can we have a meet and greet inside Disneyland where we just close the park just for our fans? They're going to so do it.
Sorry.
All three of them.
Hey.
I think we have 5 now.
Cool.
Hey, we've got a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook that like us.
That is true. They're starting to really like us.
They like us. They really do.
They really like me.
I know. Sorry. Absolutely. No, that's okay.
I think the caffeine's kicked in.
I wish that they would take that theater and turn it into Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Oh, yes, I do like PhilharMagic.
I mean, everyone's like, oh, but it's not themed correctly. And I'm like, well, what do you think America Sings was? And that was Tomorrowland. That wasn't correctly themed for the area either.
Oh,
nothing is perfect.
We also have to mention Carousel of Progress leaving Disneyland too.
Yes.
That was before I was born.
Yeah. I mean, again, I've seen it, but only because I've been to Disney World.
Exactly.
Ours turned into Innoventions, which is now also extinct, and now it's the Star Wars, what is it called? Launch Bay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I miss the old where they had the house before they turned it into like Star Wars Launch Bay, but they had the old house, the House of Inventions or something like that. I like that one. I mean, it was kind of cheesy, but it was kind of like over the top cheesy that I thought was kind of cool. There was another thing too in Tomorrowland. I don't think it's like an actual attraction, but it's one that was, when you're like 6 or 7 years old, you go into the park, you're like, oh my god, this is so cool. And that was the phone booths, but it wasn't like a receiver phone booth. It was the actual like speakerphone. So like now you can be on a speakerphone and you're like, oh my god, I don't have to put my ear to a headset. The whole room is like talking to you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they did take
Tomorrowland used to be a lot more fun when I was a kid before they changed it.
Now
there was a lot more stuff. Like, I mean, some of the things I miss from there, is the Circle Vision, Mission to Mars.
Yes.
Circle Vision. Circarama. Yeah, all that. Yeah. No, I'm just
there was a couple of different names, but it was this cool, neat thing.
Yeah.
There was one of those where Ariel is now, too, right? There used to be...
Oh, was Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah, I believe so. It used to be a theater with the movie over there.
Of California.
It was the Golden Dreams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And then some of the one that's just kind of going through the rest of it. There's also some in Disney's California, believe it or not. There's actually a huge list of Disney's California stuff because they remodel that thing so many times. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, even like the Peach, the swings, it's no longer.
Well, even
Peach,
going
Silly Symphony.
Just even going inside the park, the California thing spelled out. Which, by the way, if you guys want to find where that's at, it's in Sacramento.
I found it.
Yeah, it's in Sacramento at the
the fairgrounds.
Yeah, the
Road trip.
Okay. We're going to be doing a road trip.
We stopped by there. We had to fly out of Oakland to go to Europe, so we just made a stop by Sacramento on the way to Oakland.
Wow.
Visited the California.
If we do a road trip to go see the California sign, which I'm all for, in fact, I'm pumping gas right now as we speak. I would like to do it. I would like to do it though when it's not 97,000 degrees. If you've ever been to Cal Expo, you'll know that it is a miserable. Sacramento's not like the most pleasant of cities. I love Sacramento. As far as certain parts of it, there's lots to do. Let's not have that kind of heat. But it's really like muggy, and it's prepping you for Florida. If you want to go prep for Florida, Sacramento's your place to go to if you want to prep for Florida. But that's where the sign is now at the California Expo grounds there. So yeah, road trip. I'm pumping gas and filling up the cooler right now. Yeah, so looking at some other ones. Oh, they also had the wagons, the stagecoach rides out there. They had going on
back when it was an actual train as opposed to the roller coaster it is now.
One thing I'm surprised no one's brought up is Big Thunder Ranch.
Yeah, the barbecue restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely.
I missed that one. That was a surprise. Find you got so much food for relatively little money. When you have a teenage boy and an adult male with you, boy, they just could eat and eat and eat, and I could just sit back, relax.
Yeah, because it was.
And I could afford it.
They'd bring you buckets and buckets.
Yeah.
And buckets and buckets.
Because that's what they served the stuff in was buckets.
Yes, the cute little tin buckets.
Yeah. But before my time, but same vein. Nature's Wonderland.
Oh, Nature's Wonderland. Oh, yeah.
The mine train through Nature's Wonderland.
That's right.
Yes.
Honey, I Shrunk the Audience is another one that's not there anymore.
Do you know which one?
We gotta mention the most recent one. Tower of Terror is no longer at Disneyland.
Well, we're just doing Disneyland. We haven't even touched California Adventure yet.
That's true.
We haven't even touched California Adventure.
Soarin' Over California is also now on the list. Yep. Muppet Vision 3D is on the list.
Yeah, so
I had missed that one.
Well, I like that one because it was like a 4D thing when you get a little wet and everything like that.
It was just fun.
Yeah, I really have grown to appreciate the rides more that you can sit down and experience air conditioning for 20 minutes. I love those
that
things.
does help.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And Southern California used to not be muggy. I don't know if it's been muggy the whole time, but good God, it's muggy down there. It's insane.
Well, I don't know how many of you went. I think they only did it for like a year or so, but in 2001 we went for the Christmas right after they opened California Adventure. But there used to be a private entrance if you were at the Paradise Pier, from Paradise Pier to Paradise Pier in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And they only had it open for like a year. And for the longest time, I thought maybe I was crazy, but I had pictures. And then I looked it up and read it up, and oh, look, it was right there. Mm-hmm. They just now have like corn dogs and other things there.
Right.
So,
just like they used to have Burger Invasion back there. They used to have McDonald's where the Italian place is now.
I missed the McDonald's cart in
Frontierland.
Frontierland, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fry cart.
Goodness. You know another one too we didn't talk about besides Tower of Terror is California Screamin'.
Yeah, now it's the Incredicoaster. It's about to open as the Incredicoaster.
Right, and tickets are still available for $299. You can be one of the first 800 people that ride that ride.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, they did that when they opened Guardians, right? They had, like, the private party where they gave you, like, food and exclusive merchandise and rights to ride the ride first or whatever.
Right. I don't know if they charged $299 for that, but...
No, I think it was, like,
it was that much
or something. It was over 100.
Let's see what else.
Yeah, Michael, you were talking about places to go where it's air conditioned.
Yes.
The one that I'm really missing is the Golden Horseshoe Review.
Golden Horseshoe Review.
yeah.
So let's
And
talk
also,
about
more
that.
recently, Billy Hill and the Hillbillies, which you now can find them at Knott's Berry Farm. They were hysterical. I loved them. We used to go watch them at least twice every trip.
Now, I'm not sure what show is in there, but my recent trip a couple years ago, there was a show in the Golden Horseshoe. I don't know what it was called,
it's the Laughing Stock Company.
Ah.
They're the group that used to perform out in front of the Golden Horseshoe.
So now they're
They
just
do little
inside.
shows, and now they move them inside. But the Golden Horseshoe Review was amazing. It was so much fun.
See, I loved that Billy Hill or whatever they were. I loved that.
Yes, they were funny.
Oh yeah.
They were, it just, sometimes I wonder why they make some of the, especially if it is a group that's popular, has a following and everything else, why do they want to make a change?
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the thing too, because you look at all the different things that have happened within the park. I mean, we always long for kind of like the history, and you look for the what's happened in the past with it. But also the reality is that sometimes Disney has to make decisions. They have to make tough decisions. I mean, one of the ones that I do know after when I've been researching the People Mover, because I was really curious about, okay, what exactly happened with it. By the way, thank God for YouTube, because there's so many different things about it. But they've all been kind of...
There's some really good ones out there.
There is. Well, I mean, you can watch like Disneyland rides. There's even a live streaming of Disneyland Park itself from the Howard Johnson.
Yep.
So, but Disney sometimes has to make decisions on what's going to work for their park and what's going to make it fun for people to go to. And like for the People Mover, well, I was just going to mention that was according to many people who worked at the parks, they said that was the toughest one to close because they loved it so much. They did not want to even convert it to something different. They wanted to keep it the People Mover as much as they could.
And that is the tough balance you're stuck doing, because sometimes there is a physical reason, sometimes there's just not enough people who want to do a ride, or they can make better use of the space, or it's simply not safe, or there's been too many accidents, or it's broken down too many times. And although I love Alice in Wonderland, apparently cannot go 24 hours without breaking down. There's a few of those.
Oh my God. Every time, I kid you not, I have been to Disneyland. I have always seen that ride at one point or another break down because of something. It always breaks the F down. I don't know why. It's like
the funniest thing.
It is like Superstar Limo, or it's also like these rockin' rides, but it's always broken down because it's always just, I don't know what it is.
The flying saucers. Those things were never operational.
The flying
I can't believe
saucers.
they tried to. Yeah, it was
the equivalent
at the
of
very beginning.
Yeah, it was like Luigi's Flying Tires. They tried it again, and it failed again.
Oh yeah, that's right.
For the exact same reason. It was not easy to get in, get out. The ride kept breaking down. Nothing about it worked. I was really shocked when they were bringing it back, when they were first talking about Cars Land. And I'm like, that went very badly in 1955. Well, maybe the technology's better. No.
And they showed video of John Lasseter riding in one of the tires, but it was just one tire out there flying across the thing, and it worked really well, and it just flew, and it was like, oh, cool. But then they shoved way too many tires on there to get as many people as possible, and you couldn't move.
And if you leaned too far, then it hit the ground, and if you didn't lean far enough, it didn't move.
Yeah.
It was a weird balance for the public to try and get, with the compressors breaking down too.
Yeah.
And they apparently had a lot of people fall out of them. I was one.
No.
Really? You fell out of a tire?
Yes, I did.
Oh, no.
Oh,
well, I'm already a klutz, and my legs don't work the way they're supposed to.
I can see Vicky laying, like, flipped over on the side of the thing, her legs up in the air and everything.
Oh, but that's not my best fall.
Oh,
my best fall was a year ago, January. It's pouring rain. It was one of those really great rainstorms where everyone else leaves.
Oh, good, yes.
I'm getting out of Peter Pan, and my leg decides to stop working. And my cane slides right in the water, and I go splat. They stopped the whole ride, and everyone felt bad for me, and I'm just like, oh, God, what have I done?
Oh, my God.
Geez.
Well, anyway.
Exactly.
That's
Oh,
what I
and
feel
then I
like,
tore
yeah.
some tendons, but I didn't know that for 3
Oh
months.
my God! Oh jeez, okay.
Yeah, I was too proud to go to the hospital.
Jeez, it sounds like it. Good
Okay,
Lord.
for Disney World fans, I have to mention these because they will be sad if we do an extinct Disney episode and these are not mentioned.
It needs to be
Number
brought up.
one, great movie ride. That one was super popular and is gone now.
Yeah.
And the less popular, but I still loved it. Again, this was someplace that you could go for air conditioning in Florida. It was like 45-minute ride. It was the Ellen DeGeneres Ellen's Energy Adventure.
Cool.
It was like a video, and then you get in moving cars, and the cars move through this track, and you saw animatronic dinosaurs, and it was talking about energy and how it was created and all that, and that building is now going to be their Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster.
Oh, interesting.
Nice. Very, very nice. Well, it's one of those things where we always look back on a history of Disney. And we look at everything that we look ahead. Obviously, we have Galaxy's Edge coming up. We've got Toy Story Land. We've got Pixar Pier happening. We're looking ahead to the future. But, it's always fun every now and then to look at the past. So this has been kind of one of those fun episodes that it's always kind of cool to kind of take a look back and see what happened, Disney history.
Can I mention one un-PC thing I miss?
Oh, please do.
Sure.
As un-PC as you can make it. Please do.
I miss the burning settlers cabin on Tom Sawyer's Island.
Oh yeah!
And
They
it had-
sort of brought it back.
And it had it had the settler out there with
the axe in the
arrows
back?
with arrows in its back in his back.
Whoa.
I wonder why
actually
that's
a
on now.
There's a great YouTube video that talks about the history of that ride. And I remember what it was like in the 70s and then in the 80s and then going forward. And it's one of those funny things that there is definitely a period of time that was probably the most inappropriate in any way because you had a Native American standing nearby, there's a dead settler, and there's a cabin on fire.
Yep.
In whose idea was that ever a good, fun time?
So Vicky wrote it 17 times that day.
Yes.
Like, I want to see it
Well,
again.
you saw it from the train.
Yeah.
When you took your train around the backside of the rivers. But they did make it active again. It's got a little smoke coming up, but now it's a happy, cheerful little cabin.
We're on fire.
Cabin with, has a horse and everything. Yeah.
The horse is drowning in the water, but I'm happy today. Anyway, they're gonna make it Disney-fied.
We're gonna get in so much trouble.
That's fine. That's fine. Hey, but this has been fun though. This has been a lot of fun.
It has.
Now, I haven't told the ladies yet what we're going to do for our next episode, but to commemorate the little movie coming out called The Incredibles 2, we are going to compile a list. Now, this is a very detailed list, and ladies, I want you're going to have to email me your responses. I can't get it via the chat, but I need you to email me your top 10 favorite Pixar movies of all time.
How many Pixar movies are there now? There's not a huge list.
Well, the Pixar's been around since 95, 96 with Toy Story. And we're not talking, franchises like number one is Toy Story. Okay, well, you're saying Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, or you're just talking about the entire Toy Story. You have to give me...
Let's see. As of 2017, there were 19 feature films.
Perfect.
So you have to pick half of them.
Yeah. It is very, very easy. So if you are listening out there...
Nobody better pick Schindler's Toy Box.
Well, no.
That's what we call Toy Story 3.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense, and that's awesome.
That is wow. Anyway, Schindler's Toy Story.
Oh, we're bad.
Oh God!
And that's why we're so much fun.
Yeah. So just imagine if we're doing the Disney Unfiltered episode or something, whatever we're calling it. But no, if we do, okay, so you have your list. Now, if you're out there listening, you would like to contribute to your top 10 list, we're going to put this on the Facebook page. Also hit us up on Twitter as well. Let us know what your top 10 is, and we'll put a little fan poll out there if you guys are interested as well. We'll get something up tomorrow about that. So again, ladies, email the show, DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. I want you to give me your top 10 list, and I need that done before the next episode. So we'll announce when that will be, and be prepared for that.
I already have 5.
Okay, so
I know. She's already sitting there writing her list. Oh my gosh.
I know. Let's see.
I had to change the order again because I was like, oh, I forgot about this one.
All right, so now remember. Well, so you're going to spend a little bit of time, but what I would suggest doing is with each movie, the order you have it in, you need to tell me why it's number 10, or why do you think it's ranked higher than it should be.
Wait. Number 1 is number 1, right?
1 is 1, 2 is 2, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Can we just do our top 5?
Top 10.
Damn it. Okay.
You can do this.
I'm sorry.
You're going to have.
I broke the rule.
No, you're gonna be able to do top 10. You have like a week and a half, so this is not that difficult. Okay, this is gonna be a lot of fun, but we're gonna have fun with it. Again, to commemorate the Incredibles 2 movie coming out middle of the month. I believe it's Father's Day weekend. I think is when it comes out. So you're going to check that out. Anything else you guys have before we wrap things up for another episode?
At some point, I'd love to answer some listener questions if anybody
yes.
to send us.
Yes, so same email address, DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. Also Twitter, or hit us up on Facebook. We want to hear what you guys think. What do you want to ask us? Any question you have. I mean, we're Disney nerds. I mean, I even think we're kind of experts. I mean, we're not like, Bob Gurr or any of those type of guys. But
I mean, I am, but
okay, well, Terry's overachieving. Okay, so just send it to Terry Zen's. No, I'm just kidding. Terry Zen's email is no, I'm just kidding. But no, anything that you guys want to ask us anything you want, because this is your show, but we like doing it as well. So it's all about fun. So let us know what you guys have to think. Yes. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. Because I like the song, and that's fine. So for Patricia, Terry, Vicky, me, thank you so much for joining us here on the DisneyVerse Podcast. Hope you had a really, really good time listening to us ramble about the lost attractions of Disneyland's past and Walt Disney World's past as well. Future still looks good, folks. Hang in there. We'll talk to you guys later.